Hello, gents and lady gents. Welcome to the last of the current series of GamingGents.com. Coming up on this week's show,
I hear the ticking of the clock.
we get a look at some PlayStation Move action with Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest. And we get up close and personal with the Undead, with some new DLC from Rockstar Games, and a review of Dead Rising 2.
On the telephone.
We've also got some web-slinging action, with a review of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. And we pit Pro Evo versus FIFA, with a head-to-head look at the recently released demos. Don't we spoil you lot. Anyway, before all that, here is some news. Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light has finally been released on PlayStation Network and Steam. All you lucky Xbox owners have had the game for a month already, but now the rest of the eager Lara Croft fans can finally get a taste of this retro-flavoured take on the Tomb Raider franchise. DC Universe Online has been delayed. I mentioned previously that an MMO on the PlayStation Network must be a challenge to undertake, and so it seems to have been confirmed by this announcement. It's now been given the vague date of early 2011, which will possibly put it in direct competition with the new online Final Fantasy game. That could be very interesting.
But the secret is still my own.
The demo of EA's newest franchise, EA Sports MMA, is now online for download. The sport has grown increasingly popular in recent years, not least shown by many developers releasing games based on it. And now it's the biggest sports developer of them all's turn to throw their hat into the ring. Just remember though, no gouging or fish hooking. Not really a sport for gentlemen, methinks.
His ancestors were kings. His sword was forged by the elves.
This is Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest, showing off its controls using the new Move wands for the PlayStation 3. Although the controls look closer to something seen on the Wii rather than the more precise, realistic movements that we all hope the new PS3 controls will offer. However, this is understandable considering the game is also available for Nintendo's console. Anyway, it gets the glory of being one of the first Move-capable titles on the PS3. Whether it will be remembered for anything more than this, only time will tell.
Forces of Sauron. Use standard strikes to take out your enemies at close range. As you advance through the battles, you will have to use your shield to block and barge your enemies. Muster all your strength against stronger enemies and strike them down with a series of powerful blows. Acquire all the legendary combat skills of Aragorn the Warrior as you journey through Middle-earth. With your enemies at a distance, take up your bow and shoot down multiple foes with a barrage of arrows. Steady your spear and charge into battle on horseback, striking fear into the heart of Mordor with your battle cry. Wield the sword, live the adventure, and become the legend.
This day we fight!
Welcome back, Adam.
This is Deus Ex: Human Revolution. The third game in the cyberpunk action RPG is set to hit the shelves in 2011. The success of the Mass Effect games has obviously led the developers to believe that the bastard son of the Syndicate games, but don't tell EA that, still has some legs. And how glad we are too.
They conceal. They manipulate. They're more than human. They are like you. Find them.
All the hate, all the violence, all the lies, all of it has a source.
Ah, Red Dead Redemption. The game that just keeps on giving. In spite of its mammoth content, Rockstar have 6 DLC packs for its Wild West epic. This one, the 5th to be released, looks the pick of the bunch. Why, do you ask? Well, that's because it's got zombies in it. Of course, the surefire way to make a good game even better. Whilst we're on the subject of zombies,
don't push too far, your dreams are China in your hand. Don't wish too hard because they may come true, and you can't help them. You don't know what you might have set upon yourself.
you want zombies, you can have them. You want 27 billion ways to kill them, you can have that and all. You want to dress up as a woman, mince around and pop a Blanca mask onto a member of the undead? Well, you're a bit weird, but you can do that too. This is Dead Rising 2, sequel to the 2006 critically acclaimed but often flawed gem of a game, Dead Rising. The premise is simple. You play Chuck Green, an ex-motocross rider who is now a star of terrifying new reality game show, Terror is Reality. Terror is Reality, or TIR, is a bit like 100 to 1, except instead of answering questions, there's zombies. Lots of zombies. And you kill them for points. Actually, it's nothing like 100 to 1. More like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'd love to kill Chris Tarrant for a few points. Anyway, I digress. There's been a zombie outbreak and you're stuck in a mall, or shopping centre if you're English, which is obviously crawling with the slow and slightly stupid creatures, and you have to survive for 72 hours until the military come to rescue you. Lazy bastards. Obviously, this would be simple if you just locked yourself away in a security room, but that wouldn't make much of a game, would it? So instead, you're tasked with clearing your name after someone has set you up to take a big fall, keeping your daughter from turning into a zombie, and rescuing any survivors you might find along the way. Not so simple anymore, is it? Fook. All this basically means is that you've got a good few hours to run around a massive playground, picking up all manner of weapons, including combo weapons like these, and decapitating zombies in the most interesting and amusing ways possible, like this. It's also a much more accessible game than its predecessor, giving you a pretty reasonable chance of taking out most of the zombie horde and psychos you encounter first time round. So no more lunatic clowns who kick shit at you over and over again until you level up a dozen times like in the original Dead Rising. Right up until you reach the last boss, that is, at which point it reverts to the form of the original and puts a difficulty spike in which is so big you're left with little option other than to restart the game. I thoroughly enjoyed Dead Rising 2 up until this point, and it seems like a little bit of a cheap trick to lengthen your playtime by simply making you play through entire game again. Sure, I had fun going through it all over again, but when you know the story and the jeopardy is no longer there because you're pumped up like a virtual Arnie, it loses some of its risk-reward, which made it such a tense and interesting playthrough first time round. Dead Rising 2 builds on and improves on the original in so many ways. It's just a shame that this too may go down as a flawed gem, rather than the stone cold classic I so dearly wanted it to be.
Don't